Good morning. Good morning. It is Tuesday. So yesterday we did our very first Zoom meeting together. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be doing those twice a week, Mondays and Fridays, same time with Miss Shook. That way you can ask us questions together versus having to do so many meetings in one day. We're going to knock it all out in one meeting. Aside from that, I will be sending out video lessons to kind of go over the stuff that we're doing throughout the week. So that way you can kind of make sure you're on track, and that way you can see if you do have any questions. We'll go over our questions that you may have to answer in the lesson. We may go over some reading. We're just going to go over some stuff like we would in class. But before I move on into that, I want to talk to you guys real quick about our journal prompt. Journal prompt today is Take Two Tuesday. I've missed so much writing on the board our journal prompts each morning. So this journal prompt, I sent home your writing notebooks and your regular notebooks, all the notebooks that you had in class. Just pick one. You can use it as your new writing notebook. You want to start fresh because you've been at home, you can do that. And I want you to take two things that you miss about not being in school right now, and I want you to write about it. And I want to make sure that you give me at least 3 to 5 sentences, complete thoughts. Give me your two things and write about why you missed those two things. Okay, take a picture of them. You can send them to me over Dojo, or you can email it to me. I'd love to read your journal entry. So before we got out for spring break, we started Unit 5, Week 4. And it was about citizenship, and we talked about biographies, and we talked about the right to vote and women's rights and things like that. So we're going to review that today because that is what we're going to do this week as well. We're kind of carrying it over. Same skills, just different story. It talks a little bit about point of view as well, which is something we have covered many times. So this is kind of a little bit of review for you guys, but it's a new story. First thing I want to review with you guys is our essential question. Our essential question is, what are ways people can be good citizens? So you should be thinking about ways you can be a good citizen, especially now in this time that we're in, being a good citizen, ways we can do it safely from home, but we can still think of ways to be good citizens. So let's go over our genre again. This is biographies. This is a anchor chart that I worked on for you guys. So I'm going to go over it with you. I know you have something very similar in your packet that you picked up, but this is just something I kind of mapped out a little bit extra for you. So biographies. A biography is a text written to inform a reader about a real person's life. And if you're going to inform somebody about something, that means you're telling them about something. You're giving them lots of information. So in a biography, the main character is not the author. So remember, in biographies that you read, it's usually about somebody, but it's never written by that person that it's about. It's written by somebody else who's telling their life story. Biographies tell us real information, true facts. They don't give us opinions. They only share what is actually true, what we can look up and find out for ourselves to be real. They also tell us why the main character is important, because they've picked this person, but we got to know, why did they pick this person? What is so special about this person? They also tell us that if the main character is famous, which they're not always famous, they can be, and what they are famous for. Over here on the side, it says biographies may include. These are some things that they may include. They don't include all of them all the time. They just have these certain features about them. They don't have to, like I said, they don't have to have all of them, but they have to have some. So first thing, they usually have a table of contents. We know now by now what a table of contents is. Remember, that's that first thing you get to in a story, and it tells you, what chapter, where the chapter's at, or where the story's at in the book, like you guys use for your Reading Wonders books. It also includes real pictures. These are not drawings. These are pictures, like you would take a picture of yourself and then you would put it into a book. That's what that means. It also covers their birth, their childhood, and their adulthood information. So meaning like when they were born, where they were born, what did they do as a child, what jobs may they have had before they kind of became the thing they're most known for. So for instance, Abraham Lincoln, he had jobs before he became president. So it would cover some of those things. It also talks about challenges and struggles, if they had those things that they may have had to overcome. It talks about milestone events and achievements. Those kind of go hand in hand. So milestone and achievements and milestone events, and achievements are big things that they may have accomplished, awards they may have won, things they may have become famous for. And then it also goes over timelines, dates, times, things like that. So a timeline, boys and girls, that is, let's erase this word. Let's erase this up. So a timeline. That is essentially like a number line. We didn't do a whole lot with these. We didn't get a chance to do a whole lot with these. So let me draw it out and then I'll show you. So a timeline looks something like this, and I know mine is very crooked and I'm sorry. And it usually maps out people's lives. So it may start with their birth, and then it goes into their childhood, and then it usually ends with their adulthood or when they died if they are not living anymore. And it maps it out like that. And along the way, they're gonna list those milestones and achievements along the way. That's what the significance of a timeline is because you can take a quick glance at that and you can see what that person did without having to read through all of it at a quick glance. Of course, when you read through it, it's going to give you more details about that, but it's just going to give you a quick overview of what they did. It's also going to include a glossary or an index. It could include both. Remember, a glossary is the thing in the back. It gives you all those lists of vocabulary words and those keywords, and it gives you the definition of those. The index gives you more keywords, but it does not give you the definition. It gives you the page number, meaning where can you find that word in the story. And then the last thing I put that it gives you lots of true and real information or facts. So down at the bottom, I have this little man, he's thinking, and it says, who is featured in biographies? Well, these are not just the only people that are featured in biographies, but these are some good examples. People like Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, Jane Goodall, Muhammad Ali, Kobe Bryant, people like that. Those are the people that are usually featured in biographies. Someone who is famous or has done something, sports people, people who have won awards, people who've become president, things like that. All right, so we're going to move right on into our story today. Our story is Elizabeth Leads the Way. And our central question down here says, what do good citizens do? So we're going to read about how good citizen Elizabeth Cady Stanton fought for women's right to vote. So this is what she has done to be a good citizen. Remember, our genre is biography. And even though they have, and like I said, they don't have to have all the features of a biography. So this one actually has drawings in it, which we said are real pictures. Doesn't necessarily have to have real pictures. It just can. Remember, it can include those things. So let's go ahead and I want you to pull out your book and turn to page 433, and you're going to follow along while I read. So I'll give you a couple seconds to get your book open and get it ready to go. Oops, I went back too many pages. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So what would you do if someone told you you can't be what you want to be because you are a girl? What would you do if someone told you your vote doesn't count, your voice doesn't matter because you are a girl? Why would you ask why? Would you talk back? Would you fight for your rights? Elizabeth did. All of these things used to be true back when Elizabeth Cady was a girl. And all of these things might still be true today if Elizabeth hadn't led the way. So how is this written, guys? It's written in the form of a poem. It's written in like stanzas and has certain lines to it. So let's see if that trend continues throughout the story. She was only 4 years old the first time she heard someone, a woman, say life was better for boys. The woman had come to visit Elizabeth's new baby sister. What a pity it is that she's a girl. How could anyone look at a little baby and feel sad? What could be wrong about being a girl? So they were sitting here holding Elizabeth as she's a baby, and they were saying it's a pity that she's a girl. So we're going to find out why is it such a bad thing to be a girl. Page 435. She was 13 years old when her father, Judge Cady, told a woman whose husband had died that the farm she had spent her whole life working on would be taken from her. Without a husband, the law stated nothing belonged to her. Doesn't sound very fair, does it? She spent her whole life tending to that farm and helping her husband, and then in the end, she doesn't get it because she's a woman. Page 436. Elizabeth was horrified. Remember, horrified is one of your vocabulary words. Horrified means you're full of fear by this unfairness. And what does unfairness mean again? Full of being unfair, the state of being unfair or unjust. She said that the law should be cut out of every book. Judge Cady told her that that wouldn't change anything. Preposterous. That's what she's yelling here. Preposterous. What does preposterous mean? Preposterous means like it's just crazy. That's unheard of. Doesn't make any sense. The law was still the law, and only men were allowed to change laws. 437. She decided right then and there that she could do anything any boy could do. She jumped over high hurdles on horseback. She rafted across a raging river. Sorry, I had a little glitch in my internet. Okay, back to where we're at. Page 438. She won a prize for being the best in Greek studies. Her father was proud, but he worried about his strong-spirited, rule-breaking daughter. Ah, you should have been a boy. He knew how much easier her life would be, but Elizabeth wasn't interested in easy. Page 439. At 16, since colleges would not let girls in, Elizabeth begged her father to send her to a girls' school to continue her learning. So while most young ladies were getting married, washing dishes, doing laundry, and having babies, Elizabeth was studying religion, math, science, French, and writing. So in those times, that was pretty much all women were allowed to do. They were allowed to get married, take care of the home, take care of the kids. But she wanted to be more than that. She wanted to set out and go to school. All right, page 440. Several years later, Elizabeth Cady met Henry Stanton. He was an abolitionist speaking out against slavery. So based on our context clues in that second paragraph right there, what do we think an abolitionist means? Excuse me. If you said it's someone who speaks out against slavery, you are absolutely correct. So remember when you have this little comma afterwards, sometimes that kind of gives you a hint that the clue is coming. So speaking out against slavery. He understood how unfair it was for people to not have rights or power. He did not laugh when Elizabeth talked about freedom. He did not laugh when Elizabeth said all people should be able to live life the way they choose. And he did not laugh when she told him she would add his name to her own, but she would not give up on hers. She would not give up hers just to marry him. And we're going to stop reading there because we're just going to read half of it. It's kind of a longer story, and I want you guys to kind of, really think about what you just read. What I do want you to do is take this time now to just jot down a prediction. What do you think the rest of the story is going to, what do you think is going to happen in the rest of the story? So just jot like a 1 or 2 sentence down and make a prediction. You don't have to send them to me. It's just good readers always make predictions as they read, remember? So you can go back and just see if you were right at the end. But I wanted you to go back to page 436 for me. All right, on page 436, you have this stop and check question down at the bottom. This is your assignment for today, and this is something I do want you to send a picture of to me so I can see how you answered it. I'm going to read the question to you, kind of explain what they're asking you to do. And then tomorrow's video, I'm actually going to go over that question just so you can see if you got it right. So hold on to it, okay? But I do want you to send me a picture of you doing this question right here on page 436. So it says, what law did Elizabeth feel was unfair? So you need to reread pages 435 and 436 to find out, but I want you to give me a little bit more than just what did she feel was unfair. I want you to write also why did she feel it was unfair, and why do you think it was a law anyways? Why do you think that was something that was happening in this time? So that's a little bit deeper thinking than what it's written there, but just kind of elaborate a little bit on there. But I do want you to make sure you include what law did she feel was unfair, okay? And I want you to definitely send me a picture of that so we can go over it together. So we are going to stop there today. And I'm going to be continuing to do the read alouds. That will go out tomorrow too. I will spend my day tomorrow doing read alouds and send those to you. I was just trying to find the best way to do them, and I think that's the best way that I'm going to be able to do it. So they'll continue to go on my YouTube page. Remember, you can watch this whenever you want to. You can rewatch it if you need to. And I love you guys, and I will see you soon.